Hey, what's going on, friends? Welcome on back to the channel, Football Therapy, with me, your host, Jan. I hope you're doing well, mate. I really do hope that. And welcome back to Chelsea News, the daily series every single day here on the channel, where I reflect on what's been said about Chelsea, give you my opinion on it, for what it's worth, more importantly asking for yours. Liverpool lost the Champions League final, which is great fun. Congratulations to Real Madrid. Turns out Chelsea had a similar season to Liverpool. Both got top four, both won 2 cup trophies, though Chelsea reached more finals than them, or played in more finals than them. Which is lovely, despite the Lukaku injury, the Tuchel divorce, the sanctions, and the complicated club sale. We've done alright in the end, mate. Banter aside, though, sympathies to the Liverpool fans who endured, police brutality by all accounts. The Parisian police, I know, can be absolutely nasty buggers sometimes, so I'm sorry to hear about that. Settle in. Get comfortable, subscribe. We've got so much to talk about when it comes to Chelsea in the future. Thank you for dropping a like. If you do subscribe, hit the bell, man, because there's so much intel, data, insight to be absorbed with Chelsea at the moment. You can get it here on the channel. So if you click the bell, you're notified when I upload. It's easy, it's simple. I'm going to be using my buddy Cy Phillips Sport as an aggregation of some Chelsea news on Twitter, as well as reading an article on Ousmane Dembele back in the fold for Thomas Tuchel and Todd Boehly's Chelsea rebuild. Very, very exciting indeed. So let's quickly jump on some aggregated news again from @Cy Phillips Sport on Twitter. Do check out Simon's news page and everything. Great for keeping on top of the news. So let's talk about Levi Colwill, and of course he's had an excellent loan spell playing today in the playoff final. He has been quoted saying this: "Playing for Chelsea will always be the main aim right now because it's my club. But if that doesn't happen, well, then I have to find other ways to progress and become the player I want to be." Basically saying, yeah, I want to play for Chelsea, but I'm not going to sit around and wait for ages, which is kind of makes me feel like, yeah, I want to be Reece James and Mason Mount. Yeah, I'm also happy to do a Mark Gurhey or a Tino Livramento, which for me sounds like players are getting more and more empowered. Back in the day, we'd send them on loans and stuff, but they understand now. It's almost like they understand that they can get in the team, but they also understand that they can just leave if they want to and not sign new deals and go on loans. So it's like a more intense time for Chelsea. Personally, I really do hope we give Levi Colwill a chance. Hopefully Thomas Tuchel likes him. I do want to read this quote from Thibaut Courtois, that size quote as well. He obviously won the Champions League and was man of the match, made so many saves. He said, when talking about Chelsea in a post-match interview, he was rooting for us in the final last season, as I hope they were rooting for us too. I love Chelsea, but I just love my kids more. I hope they understand. Now, look, man, he came out with that kids thing, but He did stitch Chelsea up. He refused to train. He told Chelsea he'd sign a new deal, or certainly reports suggested that, and then suddenly he didn't. And when you go on strike to the club that's treated you so well, and you were won multiple Premier Leagues with Chelsea, you go and win a league with Atletico Madrid. He done us dirty. But I'm willing to start to emotionally grow, move on, and putting in a man of the match performance in the Champions League final to prevent Liverpool from winning the European Cup. It goes a long way, It goes, thank you, Thibaut. Moving on, I'm going to go through an actual article on the Metro in a moment, because I do want to talk about Ousmane Dembele, because a free transfer of that age profile, and it could be really, really good, man. So Graham Bailey is a report from 90 Min Football and other platforms, has reported that Chelsea are ready to let Jorginho move back to Italy this summer. So this kind of feeds into the reports of the mood that we've been saying. Chelsea likely to keep N'Golo Kante. Certainly, I know we reported on the potential sales stories, was it yesterday or the day before, but from what Thomas Tuchel's comments were about, Kante being our Mbappe, Kante being, our Neymar, Van Dijk, Kevin De Bruyne, I think he'd want to keep him, and probably he'd be more inclined to sell Jorginho, who I think he really likes, by the way. Of course, he tried to buy Jorginho for his PSG side. I think everyone likes Jorginho. he's a really nice guy. I think I cited yesterday's video about him and Mount on that Chelsea video. He just seems like a really good guy. I did a poll that got 5,000 votes on Twitter that said this: if Chelsea get a decent offer for Jorginho, should they sell him, provided they get a replacement? And nearly 82% said yes, and just over 18% said keep. So that's 5,000 Chelsea fans, and I don't think that's a reflection on people disliking Jorginho. He's like one of the nicest and important players in the dressing room. But you have to think of like where the team's going, the structure and the build and stuff, and that's where we're at. So we'll see what happens there. We'll keep tabs on that closely. There's a good chance he could move in the summer, and we'll talk about that as and when it comes. Hopefully Chelsea could get a good fee for him. Speaking of good fees, of course, after Real Madrid's win yesterday, Eden Hazard reportedly earned Chelsea yet another £20 million after winning the Champions League. Let's just quickly reflect on one of the best pieces of football business ever done and negotiated by the Chelsea chief, Marina Granovskaya. We got like £90 million for him up front. I think we've got like an extra 50, 60 million pounds on top with the league, 2 league wins and a Champions League win. If it's 20 million a pop, you could say 60 million on top of that. Well, 150 million for a player turning 29 with 12 months left on his deal. That's like Mbappe money nearly, but he was like nearly 30. That is an insane piece of business. And for those of you who criticise Marina Granovskaya, you can look at some of the deals she's done, and she is one of the best. And she won the Golden Boy Award for Best Director. She's like probably the best negotiator in world football, and that is an incredible piece of business. Chelsea are looking at the Lens wing-back Jonathan Klaus. Of course, I know Klaus from playing FIFA. He had a good in-form FIFA card. Apparently as a potential Cesar Azpilicueta replacement. No, he's a left... he's a wing-back, so he might be right wing. Yeah, he's a right. He plays on the right side, I think. Let me know what you think about him. Of course, if that's from Get French Football News. If there's developments on that story, we'll look at him a little bit closer. We'll probably pull up the stats on him as well. Stuff like that's pretty interesting and important to know. I think I am in the camp. I think we should buy a wing-back for cover. Interestingly, caught offside, again, being reported at Cy Phillips Sport. Caught offside saying Romelu Lukaku has left his agency PMP after feeling disappointed with the career advice and management of agent Federico Pastorello. Interesting. I thought he had a really good relationship with Pastorello. Lukaku is being represented by a lawyer who is set to meet with Inter Milan CEO Giuseppe Marotta. Lukaku out? Ooh, watch that space. That is a gargantuan story. Of course, early days, transfer windows sort of yet to open. Yeah, there'll be huge developments there, I'm sure. So make sure you keep it locked, because we will report and reflect on all stories as they come. One final tweet from Cy before we go into the article and talk about Ousmane Dembele. Chelsea are offering Sevilla's Jules Koundé a 4-year deal to join them to wrap up the move after he was in London to have a meeting between the two clubs. This is a bit of a nothing story. I think we know Jules Koundé is going to come to Chelsea. Interesting to hear a 4-year deal. I thought perhaps because he's relatively young, we might look to give him a 5-year deal. But 4-year deals, absolutely fine, ladies and gentlemen. Excuse me. Right, let's move on. So I'm going to read an article here by the Metro, or pick up on some of it. I'm talking about Ousmane Dembele. So this is a Spanish report. According to Mundo Deportivo, Chelsea plan to make Ousmane Dembele the first signing of the Boehly era. Record scratch, vinyl come off. I would be more than surprised if this happened. This would have to have serious legs and light speed developments, because Jules Koundé, as far as I'm concerned, is done. He'd already, agree. Maybe because you could say Dembele, there's no transfer fee. He's a free agent. So he just needs to have a meeting and go, yeah, I'll accept that. I'm a Chelsea player. I suppose Jules Koundé's done that with Chelsea, but we need to sit down with Sevilla, and maybe because of what happened with Sevilla last summer, them changing the price, that might dictate a longer transfer period discussion. Still, though, I'll be very, very surprised if Chelsea signed Dembele as the first signing in the Boehly era. It did look like for a while he was going to go to maybe PSG. Mbappe wanted him. It looks more likely now that Mbappe stays and Dembele might be available. Now, Dembele is like 25 years old. He's been around for years, but he's still very young. And, of course, Neymar's 30. And, of course... he won't have as high wages as Neymar. And, of course, there's no transfer fee. So there's great business in Ousmane Dembele. The France international is out of contract next month and has has a host of suitors, including Liverpool and Man United. Of course, Liverpool kind of makes more sense, especially if Salah goes and they get rid of Salah. I doubt he'll want to go to Man United. And you know, they've just bought Sancho. Did they need a right winger? I don't think they do. But you know, they could play him on either side or whatever. But and bearing in mind, if money's what he wants, in terms of paying the highest wage bill in the Premier League is Man United. So you got to consider that. Maybe that could happen. Barcelona still retain a slim hope of agreeing a new deal, but their perilous financial situation renders that unlikely. Ding ding! And Chelsea are now in a position to pounce. I think maybe as well because they thought they might get Haaland. Everyone wanted Haaland, Real Madrid and Barca. Certainly Real Madrid thought they'd get Mbappe. Barca thought maybe Haaland. They didn't have the money for any of this. They are in financial disarray, ladies and gentlemen. Dembele came close to leaving Barcelona in January before a dramatic late U-turn and played a key role in the side's improvement under Xavi, which helped them secure a Champions League qualification. The former Rennes winner, Dortmund winner, enjoyed his most consistent spell of his career. However, under Thomas Tuchel at Borussia Dortmund, and would be keen on linking up with the German again, particularly with doubts surrounding the futures of Chelsea-wide playmakers Pulisic, Ziyech, Hudson-Odoi. Christian Pulisic, there's a lot of talk going on about him at the moment on social media because he deleted Instagram posts and you know it's sparked a big debate. Should he stay? Should he go? There's a lot of US men's team national fans that sort of largely support Chelsea because of Pulisic and they want him to get out of there, which fair enough. Ziyech, I really like Ziyech as a sort of player. His profile, I think he's unique, but again, through largely no fault of his own, because he has learned to work hard, might not fit. Now, Callum Hudson-Odoi, interestingly, the one out of all of them that hasn't played at all recently, he's still got some really intriguing stats. Him and actually, interestingly enough, I did see this on Twitter. Him and Dembele, Hudson-Odoi and Dembele, are like the both best two ball progressors in Europe for wingers. And his chance creation per 90 is like the fifth best in the Premier League or something, Hudson-Odoi. So, and he's 21 or 22, and he's on a long-term deal. I think Chelsea might stick with Hudson-Odoi, and I think, yeah, for at least another season. I don't think Hudson-Odoi is the top of the list to sell. I do think Pulisic, Ziyech, and instead of Hudson-Odoi, I'd say Timo Werner. But for me, a solution is Ousmane Dembele. Certainly to the point of, what do we Chelsea fans say all the time? Back the manager. He's won the Champions League. He's qualified for the Champions League twice. He's got to every single cup final he's been in with Chelsea. FA Cup, apart from this Champions League actually. FA Cup, Champions League, League Cup, FA Cup, Super Cup, Club World Cup. Do you know what I mean? He's been incredible. Let him buy some players now. Let him, if he wants Ousmane Dembele, Todd Boehly, get him his man. Say, look, this is who I want and this is who we want to move forwards with. So that's what I think. These stories are going to be developing at light speed, at breakneck speed now, guys. So throughout the week. So we will, of course, cover it here on the channel on Chelsea News. Make sure you hit the bell when you subscribe. You're all welcome to, of course. It's an open community and we're all loving and friendly here. Thank you for dropping a like on the video. See you very soon. Peace.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought. Body bag the verse, outlined in chalk. In my life seen trouble, hustle on the double. Silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo chick like to guzzle, bad boy stay in trouble.